You walk out to your garden to pick a fresh tomato for lunch, but as you flip over a leaf, your heart sinks. A shimmering, sticky mass of tiny green insects is sucking the life out of your plants, turning the leaves yellow and curled. Most people panic and run to the store for a bottle of chemical spray with a warning label longer than the instructions. But you don't have to choose between a pest-free garden and your family's health. What if I told you that the most powerful weapon against aphids, mites, and whiteflies isn't a toxic synthetic compound, but a simple staple sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now? Today I am going to show you a 1-spoon garlic powder formula that can stop an aphid infestation in its tracks in mere seconds, all while being completely safe for your grandchildren, your pets, and the beneficial ladybugs we all want to protect. Before we mix up this potent natural brew, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? And what is the #1 pest that tries to steal your harvest every year? By the end of this video, you will have the exact recipe for a DIY pesticide that costs pennies, a forgotten technique for invisible garden protection, and a list of 3 plants that act as natural bodyguards for your vegetables. Stick around until the very end because I am going to reveal a shocking discovery about why garlic powder is sometimes even more effective than fresh cloves, and I'll share the secret ingredient you must add to the mix to make sure the pests don't just hide under the leaves and wait for the smell to go away. We are living in an era where our food system feels increasingly fragile, and the chemicals we've been told are necessary are starting to show their true cost. Many of us, especially as we get older, are realizing that we don't want to handle heavy sprayers filled with neurotoxins just to grow a head of lettuce. The old-timers, the ones who lived through the Great Depression and the Victory Garden era, didn't have the luxury of expensive, store-bought poisons. They had to be clever. They used the chemistry of nature to protect their food. They understood that plants like garlic have spent millions of years evolving their own defense systems, and all we have to do is harness that power. I remember an old neighbor of mine who grew the most pristine roses and kale I've ever seen. While everyone else was complaining about aphid weather, her garden was always clean. She never spent a dime at the garden center. She used to tell me that the secret to a healthy garden was making it taste bad to the bad guys but smell like home to the good guys. She used a simple garlic-based spray that she'd mist onto her plants once a week. In a moment, I am going to show you how that sulfur-based stink actually works on a biological level to confuse and repel pests. I'll also close the loop on a curiosity many people have. Why garlic doesn't hurt the bees while it obliterates the aphids? But first, let's look at why the garlic powder in your pantry is a sleeping giant of organic gardening. The real power of garlic lies in a compound called allicin, and more broadly, in its high sulfur content. To an aphid, which is essentially a tiny, soft-bodied bag of fluid, sulfur is a nightmare. When you apply a garlic-based solution, it doesn't just smell strong. It actually interferes with the sensory receptors the insects use to find their host plants. It creates a confusion zone. Furthermore, when concentrated, the sulfur can penetrate the thin outer membranes of these soft-bodied pests. For a senior gardener, using garlic powder is a stroke of genius because it's shelf-stable and ready to use. You don't have to spend 20 minutes peeling and crushing sticky cloves with arthritic hands. 1 tablespoon of the powder contains the concentrated essence of several bulbs, making it a high-potency tool for the lazy but effective gardener. To turn this kitchen spice into a garden guardian, you only need 3 things: garlic powder, water, and a tiny bit of liquid soap. The soap is the carrier. Without it, the garlic water would just bead up and roll off the waxy surface of your plant leaves. The soap breaks the surface tension, allowing the garlic to coat the aphids and stick to the plant. Simply take 1 tablespoon of garlic powder and whisk it into a quart of warm water. Let it sit for a few hours, or better yet, overnight, to fully infuse. Then, strain it through a coffee filter or a fine cloth. This is a critical step. If you don't strain it, the tiny grains of garlic will clog your spray bottle, and there's nothing more frustrating for a gardener than a nozzle that will fire just when the aphids are winning. Now, let's talk about the 10-second effect. When you spray this mixture directly onto a cluster of aphids, you're doing 2 things. First, the soap component begins to dissolve the protective waxy coating of the aphid's body, which causes them to dehydrate almost instantly. Second, the concentrated sulfur compounds from the garlic powder create a toxic environment for the pest, while signaling to other insects that this plant is off limits. It's a dual-action strike. For a beginner, this is the perfect entry into organic gardening because there is no complicated math involved and no fear of overspraying. Unlike chemical pesticides that can burn your plants if mixed too strong, a garlic spray is incredibly forgiving. Historically, garlic has been used as a repellent for centuries. There is ancient gardening lore suggesting that even the Roman soldiers would plant garlic around their barracks to keep away more than just pests. In a survival situation where you might not have access to a store at all, knowing how to turn your food storage into crop protection is a vital skill. It's about food security in its purest form. And the best part? Garlic is a systemic repellent to a degree. Some studies suggest that when sprayed on the leaves, a small amount of the sulfur is absorbed by the plant, making the sap taste bitter to sucking insects without affecting the flavor of the fruit for humans. Stick with me, because in a moment we're going to cover the secret ingredient that makes this spray rain-proof, and I'll explain why you should never spray this during the heat of the noon sun. The secret ingredient I mentioned earlier, the one that turns this from a temporary mist into a long-lasting shield, is a tiny bit of vegetable oil. If you've ever noticed how a light rain washes away your hard work, adding just half a teaspoon of oil to your quart of garlic spray acts as a sticker. It binds the sulfur compounds to the leaf surface, creating a thin, breathable film that keeps the repellent active for days, even through a morning dew. For a senior gardener who doesn't want to be out spraying every single morning, this one addition is a game changer. It means you can spray once and enjoy a pest-free garden for a week or more. However, we must talk about the golden rule of application. You should never spray this, or any oil-based mixture, during the peak intensity of the midday sun. Think of the oil on the leaves like tanning oil on skin. It can magnify the sun's rays and actually cook or scorch the delicate foliage of your plants. The best time is always early evening, just as the sun is dipping below the horizon. This gives the garlic spray all night to work its magic and dry slowly. By morning, the pests are gone, and the plant is ready to handle the heat. If this simple, chemical-free logic is making sense to you, tap that like button so we can show the world that we don't need a lab to grow a perfect garden. While we're focusing on garlic powder as a spray, there is a lazy, senior-friendly method that involves no spraying at all. It's called dryline defense. If you have heavy slug or snail pressure along with your aphids, you can actually sprinkle a thin line of dry garlic powder directly onto the soil around the base of your most prized plants. Slugs and snails have highly sensitive undersides, and crossing a line of concentrated garlic powder is like walking on hot coals for them. It creates a physical and olfactory barrier that protects your seedlings during those critical first weeks of growth. This is a piece of forgotten wisdom that used to be common in cottage gardens. By treating the soil and the plant, you are creating a multi-level defense system. Garlic powder also has mild antifungal properties. While it's not a cure-all for heavy blights, a regular light dusting or spray can help suppress the spores of powdery mildew, which often plagues zucchini and cucumbers in the humid summer months. It's a multi-purpose tool that replaces 3 or 4 different specialized products. Stick with me, because next, we're going to discuss the identity of your garden, how to use garlic as a companion plant to ensure you never have to spray at all, and I'll reveal the one shocking reason why garlic powder is sometimes superior to the fresh bulbs growing in your garden bed. Now, I promise to tell you why the garlic powder in your spice rack is often a more effective weapon than the fresh garlic growing in your garden. It comes down to concentration. When garlic is dehydrated to make powder, the water is removed, leaving behind the pure, potent sulfur compounds and oils in a highly condensed form. Fresh garlic is wonderful, but it is over 60% water. When you use a tablespoon of powder, you are essentially hitting those aphids with the chemical equivalent of an entire handful of fresh cloves. For a gardener who wants immediate results, this concentration is exactly what you need to break the biological cycle of the pests before they can reproduce. For our senior gardeners, there is an added benefit: precision. When you work with fresh garlic, you're dealing with inconsistent bulb sizes and varying levels of heat or potency. With a high-quality organic garlic powder, you get a consistent strength every single time you mix a batch. You know exactly how much punch your spray has. This predictability is key to maintaining a lazy garden that actually works. You aren't guessing, you're executing a proven formula. This is the difference between hoping your garden survives and ensuring that it thrives. In a moment, I'll show you how to use this spray as a scent mask to protect your most vulnerable crops from being discovered by flying pests in the first place. This leads us to the concept of olfactory camouflage. Many of the most destructive garden pests, like the carrot rust fly or the cabbage white butterfly, find their targets through smell. They are looking for the specific chemical signature of your kale or your carrots. When you use a garlic powder spray, you are essentially jamming their radar. The intense, pungent aroma of the garlic masks the scent of the vegetable, making your garden invisible to these airborne invaders. It's like a cloaking device for your food supply. If you are a senior gardener who struggles with the physical demand of netting crops or building complex cages, this invisible protection is a lifesaver. You can stand in one spot and mist a large area, protecting dozens of plants in minutes. It's a strategy of prevention over cure. If the mother butterfly never smells your cabbage, she'll never land to lay the eggs that turn into the hungry caterpillars that devastate your harvest. Stick with me because we are moving toward the final reveal, the secret of why this garlic method actually helps your beneficial insects, and the one specific type of garlic powder you should never use in your garden if you want to keep your soil healthy. Now, I have to give you a very important warning. While garlic powder is a miracle worker, you must check the label of your spice jar before you head out to the garden. You must use pure, organic garlic powder. Never use garlic salt. This is a mistake that can ruin your soil for years. Salt is a scorched earth tactic. It dehydrates the soil and kills the beneficial microbes and earthworms that are the heartbeat of your garden. If you accidentally spray garlic salt on your plants, you aren't just killing the aphids, you're poisoning the ground they stand on. Stick to the pure stuff. In fact, the cheaper, more pungent powders often work the best because they contain the highest levels of the sulfur compounds we're looking for. You might be wondering, if this kills aphids, won't it kill my ladybugs and bees too? This is the beauty of ancient gardening wisdom. Garlic is a repellent, not a broad-spectrum nerve toxin. Most beneficial insects, like bees and butterflies, are attracted to flowers by sight and sweet nectar scents. They generally find the smell of garlic unappealing and will simply avoid the area for a short time. Aphids, however, are soft-bodied and live directly on the leaves where you spray. They can't just fly away to the next flower. By using a garlic-based spray, you are creating a selective environment. You're making life miserable for the sapsuckers while leaving the garden police, the ladybugs, free to move and once the spray has dried and finish off any survivors. It's a way of working with the ecosystem rather than trying to dominate it with chemicals. The secret to total garden success is remembering that you are the guardian of a small, living world. If you forget everything else today, remember this. The best pesticide is a healthy plant, but when nature gets out of balance, look to your kitchen before you look to the chemical aisle. This one-spoon garlic powder trick is more than just a recipe. It's a statement of independence. It means you don't have to rely on a big corporation to protect your food security. You have the power to stop an infestation in 10 seconds using nothing but a common spice and a little bit of water. If you're ready to take your first step toward a chemical-free sanctuary, your task for today is simple. Go to your pantry, check for a jar of pure garlic powder, and mix up a test batch. Spray one leaf of a plant that's struggling and watch what happens. You'll see those aphids start to shrivel almost instantly. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you going to try the garlic ghost spray this weekend? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to mention what part of the world you're gardening in. If this video gave you a new tool for your survival kit, hit the like button and subscribe to join our community of wise, resilient gardeners. I am already researching our next topic, the 10 medicinal weeds hiding in your lawn that can treat common aches and pains. Comment medicinal if you want me to release that one next. Until then, keep your soil rich, your heart light, and your garlic spray ready. I'll see you in the next video.